Hey guys, I'm Evan. Welcome to Country View Acres. So yesterday I went and I picked up a load of steel, and that's to build out our feeder panels that's going to go in our fence line hay feeder that we're building. So the first thing I want to do this morning is cut down this piece of 4x8 sheet metal here. This is 1/8 inch thick. This is pretty heavy stuff, and it's too big to move around the way it is. So I just want to cut out the pieces that I need, and then we can get it all put in the barn, and then that'll free up the tractors for another job. So the bad thing about living on a gravel road or having gravel driveways, everything gets covered with dust. This is the piece I'm not using. This is, I guess, for another project. Well, the trick is to not cut through the pallet forks while you're doing this. Well, I do think I got my fork a little bit. Just a little. Ooh. Oh, there we go. Well, I thought I had it cut through. There we go. All right, that job's done. So let me go show you what was dropped off this morning. Well, the trucking company came this morning and they dropped off 15 tons of gravel. And it's kind of in the way of filling in this spot right here. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to start picking up this pile, and I'm going to start putting it back down over here where I spread it. It needs to be a little bit thicker anyway. I'll get some more along the fence line over there, and then I'll finally get this filled in back here around the barn. And of course, this is what I did in my last video. I'm not going to bore you with a ton of footage. We're going to try to buzz right through this and get it done. Well, it looks like one dump truck load was just enough to be able to finish this up. So I've smoothed this out as best I can with the tractor, and then I've ran it over to help pack it down. And I think that's going to be good enough for us. I considered renting a plate compactor where you run it over there and you compact all this in there, and it will really firm all this up, almost like where it's like a concrete surface. It'll be real smooth, real compact. But I really just didn't want to make a trip to the rental place today and then have to make a trip back. I've put all my gravel in the same way. So I think what we got here is going to work out just fine for us. So the next thing I want to do is I want to start putting my equipment here. I got it parked everywhere. I need to get it nicely laid out in here and start using this area. But we got to be aware of at least a couple things here. So one is the loading chute. I need to be able to back a livestock trailer in here, and if we have an emergency, have to take something to a vet, I don't want a bunch of stuff in the way. So we need to make sure to keep this area clear in front of the loading chute and in front of the hay feeder so that we can drive straight into here and load a bale. So we just got to pay attention to how we lay this, how we park our equipment. So I think next to the chute and the hay feeder, we can put some smaller pieces of equipment there. And then the farther we get from there, we can start putting livestock trailers, wagons, and bigger stuff along that side. And then of course over here, we can probably put some bigger implements right in this area as well. So I did end up slightly damaging this fence here when I was spreading out the gravel. So I've got like stock panels on here to keep the livestock in, and I caught the bucket right there and then lifted up, and you can see how I've bent that stock panel up. So it looks a little rough. I just need to park something in front of that so nobody sees it, I guess, because I could try to bend that back, but it's probably not going to end up being worth my effort. That stuff's pretty tough. So I've got 5 pieces of equipment parked in this area. I could put more in here. I could start stacking stuff in front of each other. But the way I have it right now, every piece of equipment is easily accessible and can be hooked up to. And we still got plenty of room to get to the loading chute and the hay bale feeder, and that trailer, that livestock trailer, it's gonna back in like right here. So I think there's plenty of room to back it in, and then we still have a fairly straight shot into the hay feeder. So when you look at this, it looks like we've got this huge amount of wasted space here in the middle, but that's where the tractor's actually gonna be to hook up to all the implements, plus we're leaving that driveway space to be able to get back to the loading chute. So we may rearrange it later, but we're gonna try it out this way to start. Well, today was day 4 of the silage bale, and you can see pretty much completely gone. And they pretty much finished this off yesterday, but I've left it out here today just hoping that they would clean this up as best as they can. And I think it's ready to feed them another silage bale. So before I do that, what I want to do is I want to clean this up. I think I want to move the feeder, clean up all of the silage that's on the ground, and then we'll bring out a new bale. I bet you I moved this feeder and you guys are going to want to start eating again. They don't realize I'm going to give them a fresh one. If they would, they'd get out of the way so I could bring it in. Look out, Maya. Maya, look out. Maya. Come on, get out of the way. Come on, it's not a scratching post. Maya. No, Maya. Maya, don't. You're not helping. No, Maya, what'd you do with my camera? You just knocked it off somehow. You've been beaten down by a cow. So I was gonna try to get all this picked up, but since they're trying to eat it, I guess I'll bring them another bale and then they'll be interested in that. And then I can come back and try to throw most of this on the compost pile. So this is the bale I accidentally rubbed against and put a hole in the other day. So this will be a good one to feed out. It's also a bale from our second batch of silage bales. So it'll be interesting to see how this one turned out. Because, well, this one just wasn't as wet as the first one. So it's, you know, different batch. We'll see how it does. And just like the other bales, it has a very strong fermented smell, whatever it is. I guess it's lactic acid is what it is. Some kind of, it's got an acidic quality. I normally don't take the twine off until right before I put it in a hay feeder, but I got a feeling that they'll like rush this bale, and I don't want to try to fight them. Come on, get out of the way. This will be a lot quicker if you guys don't try to keep eating out of it. Come on. Come on. Come on. Out of the way, cows. That's enough. You'll get plenty in a minute. This is what happens when you have animals that aren't scared of you or the tractor. Come on. They mess with me the whole way, and then 30 feet before I get to the feeder, they decide to stop messing with me. That right there is a really good example of why I need a fence line feeder, because then I don't have to mess with them. So now I see why they stopped bothering me. There's enough of the bale fell on the ground that they were able to stop and eat it. There's some here and there's some back there. I think you guys can tell that the silage is definitely their preferred feed. They love it. They're all around it. Even the sheep are over here eating, trying to fit in there. And right here is the round bale of hay that I gave them over a week ago. And you can see it hasn't changed too much. So I guess in my mind, the silage is definitely a hit with the livestock. So I know a lot of you guys are probably thinking that that's a lot of waste, a lot of hay or silage wasted. And yeah, it does tend to seem that way, doesn't it? But what you don't see is most of that was all lying on the ground. It's been peed on, it's been pooped on, and then the moment I started pushing everything around, I kind of stirred it up. So it's nothing that we really want the livestock really to eat, or at least force them to eat. And I think next time what I'll do things differently. I'll probably move the hay feeder off, and then I'll leave that pile there for a day, and I'll let them pick through it another day before I clean it up. But no matter what, we'll turn it into compost and we'll get some good out of it anyway. So I want to address a couple comments from my last video when I was hauling all the gravel over here and spreading it out. I've got these two comments several times. So one of them was, why didn't I use the bigger tractor? It's got a bigger bucket. You could carry a bigger load back and forth, thus less trips. And that is true, but the bigger tractor is actually a power shuttle shift tractor. So it actually does the clutching for you. So it engages the clutch, disengages the clutch, and you don't have a lot of control over how it does that. So you're either going forward or you're going in reverse. There's not a lot of in between, let's put it that way. So the smaller tractor is hydrostatic. It's a variable speed transmission, and you got a forward reverse pedal, and it's very responsive. You can go from forward to reverse instantaneously. You can control your speed. You can just be a lot more precise, and you have a lot more control doing loader work. So anytime I'm moving a lot of material with a bucket, I prefer that smaller tractor. I like that hydrostatic transmission. Yes, it was more trips, but I felt like, you know, I can put the gravel down, dig it up, everything. I can do everything with the bucket just a lot better with that type of transmission. Now the second question I got is, why didn't I use the dump wagon? Because you guys saw me use that move dirt the other day. And why didn't I just load it up and bring the dump wagon over here? Well, that dump wagon is not a very, it's not a quick implement to use. It's not very easy to back up if you've ever used a running gear wagon. And you can't really dump it and like spread it out nice and evenly either. So if I would have used the wagon, I would have loaded it up full. I would have brought it over here, basically dumped it in kind of a long pile, and then I would have had to pick it up again and try to spread it out exactly where I wanted it. It would have probably taken a lot longer trying to load the wagon because I would have handled every bucket load twice. So that's why I didn't end up using the wagon. It is not sure, if you want to just take a load and dump it somewhere, that's fine, but it's not gonna put the gravel exactly where you want it, right? So that's the reason I didn't end up doing it. It would have really been, there would have been a lot of unhooking and hooking back up of the wagon and the hydraulics. There would have been a lot of stuff you probably wouldn't have thought about, but it would have not been any quicker. It would have taken longer. So a few minutes ago, I drove the tractor out this gate, and Mo, one of our rams, he ran over here. He tried to get out the gate, and I jumped out of the tractor real quick, and I took the gate and I swung it, and I got it to, you know, shut right in front of him. Barely got it shut in time, but he was trying to get out because he wants to get over here with the girl sheep. And the girl sheep have been coming up here to the fence staring at the boys, and they're wanting to get to the boys. So they both know that it is almost time for us to put them back together, and we'll probably do that here in a couple weeks. But it's very obvious that the boys and the girls, they're pining for each other across the driveway here. So let's go head back to the house and check on Rebecca. I believe she is canning some chicken broth today. Well, I just looked down and I saw my pant leg, and I'm pretty sure that this is not mud. At least around here, anything brown like that, 9 times out of 10 is not mud. Especially when you think of the fact that we haven't had rain for like 4 weeks. There's no mud anywhere around here. Well, she's got the broth in the canner and it's just starting to heat up. And in here is what's left of the chicken broth. It'll have to get canned in the next batch. So today turned out to be a wonderful day to be outside. It started off this morning, everything had froze, so everything was frosted, and it was sweatshirt weather, a little bit chilly first thing this morning. And then as the day progressed, it got up to a high of 67. So it was just a wonderful day to be outside. Clear skies, and with all the fall colors in the background. I don't know if you guys can see that. It is just beautiful outside. And I'm not sure how many more of these days we have left before it gets too cold this winter. So it is definitely like the perfect time for everybody to get outside and enjoy it. So I hope you guys can get outside this weekend and enjoy this beautiful weather. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. So here's all the chicken broth that we canned. So 7 quarts and 9 pints, and it's very dark, concentrated chicken broth.